Good evening, everyone. My name is Minjan from Momentum Learning in Houston, Texas. Today, I'm going to present this seminar for LeetCode classes. That is to help students to prepare for the DSA interview. Here, I need to explain the DSA, that's data structure and algorithms. This seminar is to help students to do well in the interview process for a summer internship or for a permanent job after graduate from college. Of course, most of the positions would be high-tech related. For example, the big companies FAANG, the Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Apple, and so on, Netflix, Uber, and including even companies like Goldman Sachs used to be a not a high-tech company, but a financial company. But now they're also hiring people with the background in computer science, actually very skilled people to work in their companies. The current situation for the hiring with students with computer science background is actually turning negative starting later last year and also continuing into this year. Actually, just 3 weeks into the new year, we have seen thousands of layoffs from the big companies, and the trend may continue. Actually, that has been a concern. Actually, a lot of discussion has been brought to the trend or the future for students majored in STEM, particularly in computer science. It is to our belief that the layoff, maybe not due to the advance in the computer science field, is also not due to the AI development, the progress, particularly the ChatGPT and other AI tools from the big companies. We believe actually this is a turning point. Actually, I was talking about this one yesterday for the general introduction for students and parents if they want to get a better idea or clear idea for the development of computer science. Do we still need to push the education in computer science so that the kids would have a bright future or a great opportunity in the future? Actually, for students now in college, actually, you have maybe a more recent concern. That is, in a few years, if you graduate, right, what should I do? Just a couple of years ago, actually, if you have a background in computer science, it would be easy to find a job. A lot of companies were hiring. Whether you have a solid experience or not much experience, you would be great demand. And also the salary was high. But this has changed. So we understand the concern, but we believe this is actually indeed an opportunity. If you look back at the history of computer science, there are many times, even though in the past 30, 40 years, right, computer science actually had a very short history compared with other subjects, math, physics, chemistry, right? Computer science is much recent. But in the past 30, 40 years, we have seen a lot of changes. Well, just because the field is going faster than other fields. One example is well, computer science and math, right, are so closely related. So math departments actually for a lot of subjects, you don't have to change much. For example, right, say calculus in the past 100 years, probably not much different from say 200 years ago or from today. But computer science, probably after say every 5-10 years, you're going to see completely different ideas, philosophy, and tools coming up to replace what we were used to do, to replace what we were happy to do. Well, probably this is another chance that we're going to go through. The same thing that I said yesterday, that is, for example, in the evolution of computer language, many people are concerned, right? What should we use? Well, we have been through similar process to go through from low-level languages where you had to communicate with the computer using say punch cards, right? Only the zeros and ones. So computers did not speak the language we speak. computers did not speak any of the language like today, right? Java, Python, C++. They only understood the zeros and ones to indicate, right, the current will go through or not. So that was painful for human being. But then people invented tools so that we don't have to use the zeros and ones to communicate with computers. Actually, we have the language that you can actually type, just issue the commands and then computers can understand, so we can communicate. Now we have even more advanced now, writing commands, send instructions to computers, right? We don't have to write the low level languages. Actually, now if you write in Python, write in Java, actually, you don't need to care about, pay attention to the low level architecture details. Whether you write to, I say, Dell computer or Intel computer, right? Actually, HP, they would be the same. You don't have to change your code because the low level details have been taken care. Now, with the emergence of, say, the ChatGPT, actually, a lot of parents or students actually got confused. So in the future, what do I do as a computer programmer or as a computer scientist? Because even people with not much experience in computer science, right, they could also communicate with computers. So you can talk to the ChatGPT and ask the questions. So if the development, the progress in computer science has made the communication easier to make the computing much faster, then what is the purpose for us? Do we still need to improve, to push for the education in computer science? The answer is, I think still is yes. Well, it's always the case. The tools that people have invented will make our daily life easier, but then we're going to have a lot of opportunities coming up that we did not even think of. So for example, right, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the self-driving was just, a vision, kind of an, imagination. People did not think we would have it, the cars on the road, self-driving. But now it is getting there, even though it's not there yet. We don't see a lot of cars, self-driving cars on the road, in the street, right? But actually now people talking about the possibility. So 30 years ago, 40 years ago, people did not think that this was a question, did not even think about this is possible. Or people were talking about it, but it would be treated as a joke. But now actually people are getting serious. Maybe in 5 years, 10 years, actually, many cars in the street will be self-driving. Actually, I do have another example. This is actually related to my background in research. So for cancer treatment, it used to be the case for, particularly for, say, the irradiation. So for the treatment plan, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time to do it. The patient comes in, takes picture, image, and then the computers, actually not just one computer, the system of the computers will spend about a week, come up with a plan for the treatment. So during the process, during the time, right, the patient would be sent to home and then will make another appointment to come back. So this gap between the patient being diagnosed, being screened, and then to the actual treatment, actually sometimes maybe 1 week, sometimes maybe 2 weeks apart. Actually, the tumor has changed, or either has grown or has changed anyway. But the plan was based on the data maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago, even longer. Earlier, maybe say 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people would not even think about this. Okay, we would be able to do this faster. But now, as the progress getting more and more risk, actually now people are talking about maybe we should think about it. The patient comes in on day 1 and then takes the picture, the images, and then the computers will spend maybe overnight to finish the calculation, and the next day the patient can start the treatment. That would be much faster. Of course, this one is still not as ambitious as many people think. Actually, now people are thinking about the patient comes in and takes the images, right? That will take about half an hour, 1 hour. And then in the process, computers will start cranking the data. And then maybe, in 2 hours, patient can start the treatment. And actually, for intensive computation, actually, I keep telling my students, can we do this one here? So patient comes in, and as soon as the imaging process starts, we can start the calculation. I know many of you have heard about, say, the intensive computation. So you have to finish the calculation so fast, so that many times, right, within several seconds, you have to finish the calculation. I'm telling my students, right, you don't have to finish the calculation within maybe, say, a few seconds or even minutes, right? If you can finish within, say, half an hour, that'll be perfect. Patient just finished the imaging process and then will be sent to the treatment bed. So there is no gap. This was not even possible. People did not even dare to ask the question, can we do so? But now this is a question that people are asking, when we're going to make it. So back to the question that I asked earlier. So with the emergence of AI, artificial intelligence, and with the huge progress in the computational power, what can we do? Actually, we should still improve the education in computer science so that when the new opportunities come up, we will be able to take them. All right. At the beginning, I just want to make sure everybody is relaxed. Don't go panic. There's no reason to go panic, to go confused. Just make sure you are trained, you're well prepared, so that once the opportunity comes up, you're going to grab it and take advantage. All right. Okay. So that's actually what I want to tell from the very beginning. This class, the training LeetCode classes at Momentum, actually, we're going to take advantage of the LeetCode. LeetCode is a platform that has been used for literally thousands, tens of thousands, and hundreds of thousands of people nationwide and also worldwide to prepare for the interview. At Momentum Learning, we're going to also use this one here, basically to help students to prepare for the DSA, the data structure and algorithms part. So in the interview, many of you know the process. You'll be asked a lot of questions. DSA would be one part of it, but many times this would be a part, it would be harder to prepare and takes longer time to prepare. Many people have that have finished the interview process, right, would tell you it will take maybe 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months. So it depends. On average, we think it would take about 3 months to get well prepared so that you will be happy in the interview process. LeetCode actually would do this excellent. That's actually the purpose when the website was built. Actually, it's not too long ago, about 18 years ago. Okay, but another part of the LeetCode, actually, you can attend the competition. So many of our students are encouraged to take the competition. Actually, LeetCode has weekly competition. But for most students, actually, if you want to find out a job, right, that's not what I want, because most people, actually, you don't have to do so well in the competition. You just need to know the basics and know the essence of DSA, data structure and algorithms. So for each one, you know the ins and outs, so that's fine. Even though you're not very good at competition, does not mean you cannot do well. Actually, you cannot do excellent in the interview process. But if you do well in the do well in the coding competition, then of course you're going to feel much more confident in the interview process for the DSA part. All right, but LeetCode is not the only one that provides the competition. We do have a lot more for pre-college students. Actually, USCO would be a very important competition. For college students, there are ICPC, but of course, they're so competitive. But you don't have to be at the level. For example, Code Forces would provide also regular competitions if you want to join. So that is actually an extra. If you say, I have been preparing the LeetCode problems for the past, say, month or two. Now I want to check how well my skills are so you can participate at the competitions at different levels. The goals for the LeetCode classes at Momentum Learning, we're going to basically provide three aspects here. So first, help students to become familiar with the common data structure and algorithms. So that is the DSA. And here I want to make sure that this is common data structures. There will be a lot of fancy, more complicated data structures and also the associated algorithms. So you don't have to be an expert for many of these other fancy structures. That will take a long time to prepare. Actually, if you want to be an expert in this, right, that will take years of research and also practice. But that's not going to be needed. Actually, it's not necessary at all. Okay, but you need to be familiar with the common data structures because they would be like the foundation, the building blocks for other structures to solve problems. So you need to get familiar with these tools. And also, we want to help students to quickly solve LeetCode problems. That is actually what matters in the interview process. So if you're given, say, 30 minutes to solve a question, and then the interviewers are waiting, and then you're working it, maybe you're going to have a brief communication with them. But when time is up and you still cannot solve it, that's kind of, that's not do well. Maybe, you can answer most of the questions, that's fine. But if you say in the interview process, you cannot answer most of the problems, then probably you're going to stop there, and then they will kindly tell you, Jack, let's stop at here. So in that case, that means, you need to prepare further, to have more practice, to get more familiar with the tools and then the techniques, right? So that's what we try to help here, help students to quickly solve the LeetCode problems. There are three levels: LeetCode problems, easy level, medium level, and also hard level. So our job is to help students to solve questions at all three levels. And also, we want to help students to communicate with interviewers effectively and also convincingly. This is actually a part that we want to emphasize. Actually, it has attracted a lot of attention from the past students that have gone through the process, and also that also brought to our attention since we have a lot of students and parents, and also we have connections with the people during the actual interview process. We found this is actually increasingly important. For a company, they want to hire people that can communicate clearly with colleagues, with other parts of the the company, and also most importantly, they need to be able to communicate effectively and also convincingly to their customers to sell the product, sell the service. Actually, a lot of students going through the STEM process program, actually, they are very good at solving problems, but not very good at selling themselves. They had done the job, they solved the problems, but if they cannot effectively convincing the customers to buy the product, to buy the service, still does not do anything good. So this is actually more important than ever. Even though we put this one at the last one, but not the least. Actually, it is actually coming to one of the most important goals for our training, not only for this one, but also in general for STEM students. Okay, so that's our goals. And the format for the class, actually, we want to, based on what we just talked about, goals, right? We're going to make it say, first, hands-on. All students must write code in class. Actually, they have to write working code. That is, the code has to pass the test cases. So they need to spend time to think about it, and then write the code and then debug, find out if there is a mistake, right? Find out what went wrong and try to fix the problem. This is, of course, important. If you want to show that you do have the skills, you do have experience, right, then you have to show that you can write the code that can solve the problem, pass all the test cases. And also, since we have to make sure you have the effective communication skills, right, we're going to do this one. In the class, we're going to make it interactive. So you're going to be able to present ideas to the class and also explain your implementation and also be prepared to answer questions. So the instructor actually would be like the interviewer. Actually, other students, classmates actually would be the peer judge, and they may have their own ideas, right? Because they're taking the same class. If they ask any question, right, how would you respond? So this is like a mock interview. If you have done enough such practice, I'm pretty sure you're going to feel much more comfortable and be able to do well in the interaction. So sometimes actually we would challenge a student. So how did you do this one here? So suppose we change this a little bit, what would you do? Or suppose, right, we change the condition a little bit. Does your code still work? If it does not, right, how would you fix it or adapt, change your code so that you can still handle this case? Or sometimes maybe the challenge is actually incorrect. How would you identify that is actually a fake question? So these are all included in the curriculum and also in the practice. Okay, so we think the class in this format will help to prepare students for the actual interview, and actually not only in the interview, in the future job. So that can help you to convince maybe your teammates, maybe your boss, right? Also important, your customers. Anyway, whoever on the other side of the table, right? If you can present clearly, explain your ideas in a convincing way, then it's going to help you to sell your product, your service. All right, language used in the class, in the classes, LeetCode classes, actually, we're going to take all three: Python, Java, and C++. You can use any one of them. We would actually use all three in classes and also provide the solutions in all three. And the argument is actually, all these three languages, actually, they are the most important, the most popular language so far worldwide for programmers. They exist, they become popular, there must be a reason. So we think all three should be useful. So you can speak any language, but we will speak three. And to be honest, if you can speak one language fluently, then you should have no trouble to read code in the other two languages. Because for the DSA, actually, it's not that fancy. So it's basically the data structure and also the common program flow. So you have the loops, you have the conditional statements, you have the functions, recursion, and also the structures, right? So pretty much if you use the three languages, the code would be quite similar. And our experience shows, actually, if you do speak, say, bilingual or say trilingual, actually, you do have advantage when you communicate with, say, teammates from customers. And we cannot enumerate all of them. All the languages, actually. Sometimes people say, okay, they speak R, or they speak MATLAB, or they speak, say, JavaScript, or speak Perl. You cannot expect, right? You understand all the languages. That would be a big waste. But if you can speak one of the three here, then the other two actually would be obvious. Quite obvious to understand. Even though you don't write the code there, but you can understand the code written in other two languages. Okay, so we do provide solutions in all three, so that no matter what background you come from, you should be able to have the language that you're familiar. That's also the case, actually, if you work on LeetCode platform, you have these three languages. Topics are covered. So this would be a list of the common topics. It does not cover 100%. Again, this is again the philosophy. In an interview process, you are not treated as an expert and everything. If that's the case, right, then they should change the position with you, right? Suppose you're an expert for all the DSA, right? Then you'll be the interviewer, and then the person who interviewed, right, will be interviewed. So they know you have some knowledge, you have some experience. They want to check whether you have the ability to learn to communicate. Okay, so it is fine if a topic that you did not know well and you did not practice, right? Just be honest. I did not do much practice on this one, but if you want me, if you tell me why, tell me how to do it, right? I'll be happy to follow. So that part actually sometimes may carry more weight than you can successfully answer a question, because to the interviewers, right, they know you must have spent a lot of effort, a lot of time for this one. That's fine. But if you start a new job, right, to be a person, new person in the company, then of course you have to learn something new. How quick you're going to learn the stuff, how quick you can join or merge into the teams, that is actually much more important than the knowledge that you have. Because pretty much everybody ready joining the companies they hire must have the the necessary skills. So that is a must. But if you can demonstrate, you can learn fast, you can merge smoothly into the teams, right? That actually would be a big plus. These actually would be also the common topics. If you check LeetCode and also some other similar platforms, they pretty much would be roughly the same. So we're going to cover all these, and for each topic, actually, you should practice. Maybe the ones coming earlier, right? You should have more, spend more effort. They have higher priority. Toward the end, actually, you don't have to spend much at all. This one actually is not math prime. You have to know the basics. Actually, we're going to make the classes self-contained. That means if you study here, you don't have to look for help outside, but you have to put a lot of effort after class, a lot of practice. These are just examples for the 3 levels. The easy level, many people have experience working on something like this one. You're going to merge 2 arrays into one, but cannot get help from a 3rd array. The first array does come with extra space fields. So how do you merge them so that the 2 arrays, after merge, the array would be sorted? So many of us would do this one without much trouble. That's great. This is a question in the medium level. That is, maybe if you don't have much experience in DSA, then not so easily for you to solve. So this is a typical, classical question, sliding window max. So you have an array of n integers. For each window of length k here, find out the max value. All right, so you can do it brute force, but that will run out of time. And of course, if you run out of time, that will not pass the test cases. So you have to be smart. How do you take advantage of the windows being slided from the current position to the next position, right? We have done a lot of calculations. So can we reuse the information so that for the next window, we don't have to redo all the work from scratch again, so that you can save time to finish the calculation faster. So this comes to the idea for intensive calculation. Sometimes you can get the solution, get the answer by doing brute force. That means, right, I do all the detailed work, take advantage of the high computational power from the computers. But still, these questions, as I said, right, say 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we did not have the computation power, so people did not even think about it. So these would be treated as a research problems. But now computers are getting so fast. So now we say, okay, everybody can do it if you can use the right algorithm to do it. So now this becomes a normal problem, even though this was treated as a hard question years ago. All right, this example, that's a hard question. So again, given an array and you're going to find out all the pairs, the numbers that are bigger but on the left, numbers smaller on the right. So find out all those pairs. So this is also another classical question called inversion pairs. Okay, people with not much training in DSA, data structure, and algorithms would find out this is actually hard. Again, you can do it brute force, but that will run out of time. So it'll take long. So here you're supposed to finish within, say, a second for each test case. But if you don't do it well, right, it may take not just say seconds, you may take minutes or hours and still did not finish the calculation. So how to do it in a fast way? So this is one example for hard level LeetCode problems. Okay, just want to show you the rough idea. And the classes at Momentum, actually, we have the two levels, LeetCode 1 and LeetCode 2. So for LeetCode 1, we try to help students with little experience in DSA. So students may be majored in STEM, but not, exactly in computer science, or maybe in computer science, but not for the DSA, for data structure and algorithms, and specifically, right, for intensive calculation. So that's what we try to do. So we want to help students to become fluent in computer programming. So first, you have to speak fluently in the computer language so that you can communicate with the computer. So as we said, right, we're going to ask you to be fluent in either Java or Python or C++. And also we would introduce common data structures and also the associated algorithms to students. So this will become the foundation for further improvement. So you need to know the basics, the foundation, and then build on top of the foundation. And the third one, we're going to help students to solve easy and medium level LeetCode problems. So for LeetCode 1, that's our goal, and hope we can help students to get started. And then LeetCode 2, we want to help students to become more powerful, to be more experienced. So they should be able to analyze problems. Actually, in the interview process, actually, you need to be interactive with the interviewer. So make sure you understand the question clearly and make sure the input-output is what you have in mind. And also maybe sometimes you're going to provide your ideas, and they can also take the feedback, or maybe this is a corner case that we did not think. So make sure you're going to do the analysis, even though you did not start the coding, but you should analyze the question. And also after that one, you're going to design your algorithms. So even though we said this is important, but some students actually would try to skip the step after reading the question and then start coding. That's actually not what we recommend. Okay, from our experience, actually, if you start coding, start writing the code, not just for the input output, but actually doing the coding, it's easy to get in, but it's hard to get out. After 20-30 minutes, actually, your brain would be so immersed in the question. So it would be harder to come out or change the viewpoint. So we suggest analyze the question and then start design your algorithms. So you maybe write a few sentences to explain the steps, step 1, step 2, step 3. This is actually what we recommend a lot for students in STEM. This is actually a common pattern. Many students are so eager to get started without a clear plan. So we want to change that. Help students to develop a good habit. Okay, this is actually also evaluated as we carry quite some weight for the interview process. Of course, we're going to help students to solve problems at all difficulty levels, easy, medium, and hard. And also, this is not all. to help students to do well in the interview process and also future job and life, right? We want to have students, right, provide the complexity analysis. So the current algorithm, the design, right, we're going to have, say, maybe this complexity. It will take so much time, but we can, right, maybe we can further improve the efficiency, the calculation by doing this and this and this. So even though we did not implement these ideas, right, but these are the ideas that we should try. And of course, right, when you say these, hopefully they will be reasonable, not say obviously wrong. That will actually offend the interviewers, because also they are experts in their field. So if you provide some ideas that is reasonable, they're going to be happy. But if you say something that is unrealistic, right, then they will be offended. And also we hope to help students, right, to communicate thoughts clearly and also effectively. This is, as we said, right, very important. So we're going to provide this once students become fluent solving the problems, and then they can talk about how they come up with the idea and how to implement, and also to provide further discussion. And also for students that want to try further, as we said, right, LeetCode does provide the competition regular basis, and also the USCO is also welcoming students at pre-college level and also in college level. Actually, we have a lot of students with experience in USCO, experience from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and they have told us when they go for such interview, when they tell the interviewer, right, they have been, say, training USCO training, right, for say 2, 3, 4 years or even longer, and then they got, say, USCO silver level, that's this one here, or gold or platinum level. Actually, they'll get the greetings from the interviewers, because many times the interviewers also have similar experience. But I have to say, right, you don't have to achieve, say, USCO gold or platinum level to do well in the interview process. If you are fluent at bronze level, silver level, then you would be able to do very well at LeetCode interview level. So most of the questions at LeetCode, no matter easy, medium, or hard level, they would be roughly at bronze level and silver level in USCO. Some of the concepts, topics, right, would be covered at gold level, but the difficulty level would be much lower. Well, of course, for these competitions, right, it will take much longer time. Here, for every question, you have about an hour and 20 minutes or 1 hour, 40 minutes. So it's much longer. And in the interview process, you don't have the luxury. Spend, say, 100 minutes on one question. That's not the case. So you have to be able to finish maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or sometimes a little longer, right? Maybe 40 minutes, but that's it. You don't have 4 hours, 5 hours to solve 3 questions. Okay, but if you want to, if you do well in the LeetCode practice training, and you want to do further, right, then USCO would be a tool to go. Another one is, as I said, right, the Code Forces. That's the competition for college level students, but they normally would be higher, more competitive. Of course, you can join the competition at the different levels. Say, USCO silver probably would be, say, SPC 1600, 1800. Gold level actually would be over 2000 levels. 2000, 2500, 2800, right? Plat actually would be higher. Okay. So this is actually we recommend for the training, not only for the contest, but for LeetCode classes, the same practice, but not just simple practice. We want to have what we call the reflective practice. Of course, you need to solve the questions. It's better you're going to start from scratch. Do not, copy a code that you wrote maybe last week. Don't do that one. So start from scratch, and then after you have passed all the test cases, try to organize your notes and code so that you're going to observe the, the lesson, right? Maybe it's a success, maybe it's a failure, but no matter what you have, write down the experience so that in the future, right, you're going to either reuse the technique or try to avoid the pitfall. And if you observe long enough, you summarize long enough, right, you should be able to talk about more, and that actually can help you to communicate more effectively, actually more convincingly. Because if you have the experience and you have reviewed, summarized multiple times, actually that will give you more weight when you say it. So you would speak with authority, with confidence. That can help you a lot during the interview process, and also in the future when you talk to any people. Here, for many questions, actually we would recommend repeat. So it does not matter, maybe a easy question, right? You still need to repeat. So we recommend maybe repeat 1 month later. So for most questions, if you can do it, say, more than once, this is like, every time writing a solution is not, say, doing a math problem. If you know it right, next time you do it, it will be pretty much the same. But writing code is like writing an essay. Every time you write an essay, it will be different. Even it is same topic, it's same person, but still you're going to write a different essay. So try to do it with multiple times. Some questions you may have to do it more than once, like maybe twice or 3 times. That's why we think the preparation that can go expand, right? Maybe 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months. So if you spend more effort like this one here, organize and also keep reinforming the concepts in your mind, so that you understand the essence. Okay, I want to emphasize here, right? The training is not just, say, to have a lot of, write solutions for a lot of questions. Say, some say, okay, I've solved, say, 500 questions. Some say I've solved 1,000 questions. The number of the questions actually is not the important indicator. What matters is actually you understand the underlying mechanism. So for each common data structure, right, why we want to build in that way, why it has the advantage, and also why it has the corresponding disadvantage, right? I want to also speak one thing. For any data structure, for any algorithm in computer science, you cannot say it only has advantages, right? They must have some disadvantage. So for some applications, this will be appropriate, will be good. But for certain other applications, right, this will be bad. So you have to know when you're going to use them. So think about more and summarize more, then you're going to get better and better, and you can have the authority. So whenever you speak, your classmates, your teammates will listen to you because they know what you're talking about. So here at Momentum Learning, actually, our job is to help you to get started, to help you to be in the right track. So actually, once you get comfortable solving the questions, say at medium and also hard level problems, right, then actually we think we have achieved our goal. Because for almost all students, once they are at this level here, they would be able to do self-studying. So in the next, maybe say 2-3 weeks, actually, you are supposed to guide your own training, your own practice. Actually, there are more parts for interview process, right? Here, we want to talk about the DSA. There are other, say, system design. There are other parts for the behavioral questions. And also more, right, in general, how do you write your resume? How do you polish them? And a lot of other issues. Actually, that's not covered in this class. Actually, we are only here to help you to get started. Once you are in the right track, actually, now you can just sell on your own. So this is what we hope to achieve. And at Momentum Learning, our job is to help you to excel. So always, as our logo, right? Please help us to help you. All right, I'll stop here. And if you have any question, you can ask me now or you can stay here.